Alright, what's good, y'all? It's your boy, the Conscious Coon Killer, killing the coon within me and within you. So, I'm just kind of making a couple of videos today, and basically, this video is want to talk about real quick black men who disrespect black women by associating all black women with derogatory words like hoe, bitch, things like this when we refer to our women. I don't know how many times I've been in conversations with men of all different races, and I'm not saying that men of other races don't do this. They do. I'm just here to focus primarily on us, not that I won't talk about other groups of people in later videos. But for today, I'm talking about us, as in black men. I don't know how many conversations I've had with other brothers, and we'll be talking about girls that we been with, been dating, talking to, whatever, right? And they'll be like, yeah, so I was talking to this hoe the other day, and the hoe said this, the hoe said that, and then this bitch. I'm sitting here thinking, like, dang, if she's such a so-called hoe and a so-called bitch, why are you fucking with her? What does that say about you? And they be like, some dudes say, oh, no, man, no, I don't mean like that. You know what I mean? I'm like, nah, I really don't know what you mean. Why are you referring to this woman as a hoe? You know her name. I mean, maybe you don't want me to know her name. That's cool. Why not call her woman or lady or chick or, this person? Something like this. Why's it gotta be hoe? Why's it gotta be bitch? Why's it gotta be all this other stuff? And then we want to turn around and act confused when our women get mad at us. We want to say that they got a bad attitude, and oh, this is why I mess with white women, because all black women this, all black women that, when in actuality, first of all, a lot of black women don't have bad attitudes. Big shock, right? They feel the same feelings as us. They go through the same shit that we do as black people, but for some reason we want the world to understand why we're angry as black men, and that it's not cool to call us the angry black man, and that's not cool to be, it's not cool to be afraid of us as black men. But then we'll turn around and say that black women always got a bad attitude. How are we helping to curb this so-called bad attitude that black women have by calling them bitches and hoes all the time, by mistreating them, by neglecting them, by not protecting them, by beating them, by harming them physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you name it. You name it. But for real, what do we expect is gonna happen when you already got to deal with racism, white supremacy, and they got to deal with sexism too, which we do too, but not to the same degree. Sexism obviously harms women of all races more than it harms men of all races, but sexism does play a role in fucking us over too. Don't get it twisted. That's why I don't get on that pseudo feminist shit. But anyway, how do we expect them to respond when they already got to deal with all of this outside stress in this world of white supremacy, and then they want to come home to us? They want to build a relationship with us, whether that's a friendship, business relationship, a romantic one, or whatever. And this is how we're treating them. This is how we're treating them directly, face to face. This is how we talk about them, either amongst other men. This is how we talk to them. This is how we present our mindset of them on social media, the whole nine. They see this, they hear this type of stuff. So, and obviously this isn't all of us, but we got to hold all of our people accountable. So for the black men, for the black men that this pertains to, why do we as black men do this, but then expect black women to just be, always, completely just feminine and nonchalant about what's going on, and passive, I guess would be the right word, not necessarily feminine, even though all women should be in touch with their femininity. But like a almost side note, it's hard for black women in particular to be in a healthy relationship with their own femininity, when 9 times out of 10, black women have to be the ones to be the head of the household because there's no man there. Now, that's not always the fault of us as black men. A lot of times that has to do directly with white supremacy, taking black men out of the home through the drug epidemic, through mass incarceration, the whole nine. You already know. But on top of that, you do have a lot of dudes out here, a lot of black men that are trifling, that just don't want to be in the home and help take care of the children, help take care of the home, help make sure that their woman is cool. Just that's just how they may operate, right? So since black women know this, they will then raise their daughters to have this independent mindset instead of having a self-sufficient mindset, because those are two different things, being self-sufficient and self-reliant versus being completely independent to the point where you think that you don't need a man. I don't think it's always so much that black women hate us when they say, oh, I don't need no man, that whole, spiel on that. It's a survival thing. If you know that 70% of the black American community, it's raised by single mothers, whether it's the fault of the black man individually, if it's that black man's choice to not be there, or that black man got pushed out by white supremacy and, the whole nine, whether it be welfare, like I said, the drug epidemic, mass incarceration, the whole thing. Either way, black women know there's 70% of us that, not 70% of all black women, but 70% of the black women that have kids are primarily raising them on their own as far as parenting, right? So if and when they have a daughter, they have to keep in mind that there's a good chance that they may be a part of that stat. They don't want that to happen, but they can't necessarily control what happens once that girl leaves the nest and she goes out to pursue a man, a black man, to be particular, because black women do not date outside of their race to the same degree as really anybody, So since black women know this through experience or through, one of their homegirls' experiences, they have to almost unfortunately condition their little girls to be in this mindset of like, fuck it. You almost have to just low-key believe that you don't need a man, even though they know that that's not true. But but the reality is, you may have to live that life where you may never have one. So then what happens? Then black women don't get a chance to be in their true feminine state because they can't afford to, you see? So then they end up taking on pseudo masculine qualities, which then in return doesn't attract as many black men as it would be. You see, it's a big cycle. And this is not me putting the fault on black women or black men for this. It's a big cycle. But as black men, I feel like a lot of us don't understand this. So instead of us saying, hey, let's try to curb this, let's try our best to be here even though the system is against us, let's try our best to beat the system. If I'm going to have a kid with you, let me make sure that I am there. Even if we don't work out as a couple, I'm going to be there. Let's not get the courts involved. Like, let's stay together for this kid as far as parenting, you see? But we got to get back to this healthy mindset of wanting to build a foundation in our relationship first before we just get straight to fucking. Ain't nothing wrong with having sex, but we need to be more responsible as adults when we do this. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with having some fun, but you need to keep in mind that, hey, I can get this girl pregnant. Now what? Do I see myself with this particular woman for the rest of my life? Do I see her as the mother of my children? Do I see her as my wife? Whether you believe in marriage or not, which I can make another video about that, but you got to ask yourself that as a black man, do you see this individual black woman as these things? And if not, that's okay. It's not to bash all black women. It's not even necessarily to bash her. She just may not be the one for you. Maybe physically she may have everything that you're looking for, but what's going on up here? Are you guys mentally connecting? Are you guys emotionally connecting? Are you guys spiritually connecting? You see? But we don't, as a collective, we don't understand and we don't care about that. We just want to get right to the goods. And I get it as a man, especially when it comes to black women, because black women are sexy as hell. I get it, you know, but we got to be more practical. We are men. We're supposed to be the more practical and logical of the sexes, right? So we got to think more than just our primal mindset. You know, we got to balance that. We got to balance that out. We got to stop just going for the gold, and we get a girl knocked up. She decides to not have an abortion. Now what? You see? Now y'all have a daughter together. You ain't in the home because you don't want to be around her because you don't like her like that, or whatever the case may be. Now that girl's growing up primarily with just the mother. Now she's experiencing raising this kid without the man in the home. So now she's thinking, well, damn, my daughter may grow up and have the same fate as me. I gotta prepare her just in case. You see? So then now she may grow up already having what we call a bad attitude before she ever even gets hurt, because we all have been hurt in at least one relationship before, men and women. So then what happens when this girl already is in this mindset where she feels like, okay, any day this is gonna happen, right? So she's already kind of expecting it, right? And then it happens. So then when the next guy comes along, she's already kind of on him about, you know, how he is and just everything, right? Nagging, the whole nine. But we take that as, oh, black girls just have this type of attitude, as if it's just them. And then we want to use that as an excuse to run to Becky and them, right? Thinking that, okay, this will be better. And now, you know, don't get me wrong, maybe Becky and them and Ling Ling and the whole nine, and excuse me for the, if that sounded racist or whatever, but anyway, you know, they may have more of a privilege to be in a more healthier state of their femininity. So on the surface, you're thinking like, wow, this is just a relief. You know, Becky and you know, whoever else, these women just coming off so nice and nurturing and soothing. How come these black bees can't be like that? How come these black hoes can't be like that? You see? And we start acting like this instead of trying to understand our own people and think, okay, hey, wait a minute. I understand white supremacy as a black man. I understand racism as a black man. I understand white privilege. But for some reason, us as black men as a collective seem to not understand that white women have white privilege. We think it's just white men. We don't understand there's a reason why some, not all, because you have a lot of Beckys out there some of them are the ones that for real be having the bad attitude. So I'm not trying to act like it's just black women. I'm just saying that we try to act like, as a collective, we try to act like it's just black women. You see what I'm saying? So for the white women that don't act that way, that don't have the attitudes and are in a healthier state of their femininity, we want to act like white privilege doesn't have to do with that. They're allowed to be more, I don't want to say submissive, I mean, even though that is what it is, that word kind of sounds funny style to me, but they can be more in their femininity. They can be more relaxed and kind of let their guard down, because white men and white society protects them enough. Not fully, because white women do deal with sexism, not to the same exact way that black women do, but obviously sexism harms white women. So I'm just saying, as far as women are concerned, they have the most privilege out of all women. White women do. So they can afford to be a little more relaxed compared to white women, because they know that they're protected socially for their race. Black women are not protected at all, racially or their gender, you see? So a lot of times black women, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, feel the need to have to kind of be a little more turned up, so to speak. You see what I'm saying? But we don't want to take the time to understand this, to communicate with them and try to figure out these things. We just want to fuck. That's ridiculous. We gotta be, more responsible as black men and respecting our women and understanding that's all of us. That's me included. I'm not trying to leave myself out of this, but we all as a collective need to call out these black men that say these things, that are mistreating our women, whether it's, mentally, physically, whatever. The whole nine. We gotta try. I understand the world is against us as black men, so it makes it harder for us to be providers than any man on earth, which is a part of that cycle. I'm just kind of going back in circles, but it's the whole cycle. But we gotta try. We gotta do better. There are still things that we can do. We can control how we talk and what we say. I should say, maybe not how we talk. I got an accent. Everybody's got an accent. I didn't mean like that, but we can control what we say and how we speak to our women and how we talk about our women. White folks ain't that's got nothing to do with them. That's got nothing to do with white supremacy as a whole. So social conditioning does play a role, but not to the point where we can't unlearn some of these things and control what is that we're saying about our women. So we do got to do better, and we do need to hold ourselves accountable individually and hold one another as black men accountable for that, for real. Because we're going to be lost without them, and they're going to be lost without us. Black families are very important, and we need to understand and get back to that. But yeah, I'm gonna end this one here. I'm probably gonna start putting these on SoundCloud as well. I'm not sure when or about that, but I'll let you guys know. Also, just if you want to hear just the audio version, not to look at my face. It's me sitting in my car, because I'm probably gonna be doing these videos mostly in my car until further notice. But just stay tuned. I'll get better at this. This is just kind of something I'm trying out, just kind of seeing how this whole thing feels. But yeah, it's your boy, the Conscious Coon Killer, and like I say, trying to kill the coon within me and the coon within you. Peace and hair grease.